So we are on a ferry now?
Yeah.
And we're inside the car.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How are you guys liking the ferry ride?
Okay, say something.
This is fun.
Ate,
It's relaxing. Huh?
say something.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Nakatawid na kami. Uy. Ate.
Or do it again.
Do it
Second
again.
take.
Why, it wasn't on?
Yeah.
Wow.
I always forget.
Hi!
Ayan. Si Giana.
Hello.
Look at that.
Hi. You drank already.
Mom finished her.
May piña colada.
She said it was
Virgin.
virgin, but I don't know. It went down real fast. The camera's a little wobbly. That's why.
Ate, si Andrew. This is Issa.
Okay, I know there's a big group, right? Normally we go in that way, but I noticed there's kind of some younger people and stuff like that. If you want, we can go out into the sea lions, if everyone agrees on that.
Oh yeah.
You know, because this way we go in and it's kind of mellow, and out there it's still mellow. It's a nice day, so it's kind of calm out in the ocean, and it's just the ocean to me is.
Sorry, man, I can just throw up right in the side.
If you throw up, I'll join you. It's so calm. It's so calm out there.
Okay,
It's so calm.
all right, wow.
Liberty home coming up on the right. It's this big house with the orange roof. It's a double lot house. Has some stonework in the front. This is the home of rock stars. I always like to look in the windows, see if anybody's home, anybody poking around there doing crazy rock star partying, and okay, didn't. Wait! Oh, they're up there! Yes, over on the second story windows, over on the right side. Rock stars. Yeah, all right, I know. That's a chipmunk's house. Chipmunk music must pay really well. That's a $15 million home right there.
Ooh.
Now that's a double lot home. You got double the lots, you're pretty much going to pay double the price. No bulk discounts here in the harbor. For comparison, coming up here on the right, we have a couple of A-frame homes. Those are those triangle-looking ones. You see the mint green one on the left? It's the shorter of the two. That one just sold. A little under $8 million for that house. Sure. That's typically what you're going to pay for a single lot here along the peninsula, $7 to $8 million. Occasionally, you might find a fixer-upper for maybe $5-6 million, but that's going to be a lot of work. Nobody wants to deal with that. Also, here on the right, little gap in between the houses. We're still at relatively high tide, so if you look through here, look through this gap, you can see all the way to the beach and the Pacific Ocean. This is actually the thinnest point along the Balboa Peninsula, directly to our right. On the left, we have some tall buildings, Newport's financial district, that are in the distance. Also on the Fashion Island, if you like doing some overpriced shopping. We got Macy's, Neiman Marcus there. Not for me, you'll see me at Brahmas, Salvation Army. Now folks, if you look back to the right, you'll see there's a bright yellow house. Got a star right on the front of it. Everyone see that house? I don't know anything about it. I do know a little bit about the house to the left. A tan house, a long glass window on the left side. That is not just a window, that's a glass elevator. Yeah, people own that little tiny house, they put a glass elevator. I always thought that was funny, it was kind of stupid, but actually, that glass elevator does have a really good use. Right up here on the right with an archway up on the second story, vines on the roof. That's the home of a guy named Dean Koontz, award-winning author. He's written over 40 suspense novels. A lot of them take place right here in Orange County. He is an Orange County guy. Now back on the left, we got this big aluminum boat here, the Spirit of Musgrave, a tri-hull vessel. This is an international boat. Hails from Australia. Back on the right, we've got a white house that's a long glass windows in the front. So this house is actually one of the larger homes here in the harbor. Doesn't look it though from the front, right? So as we go past this house, take a look down the left side. This house is deceptively large. It's actually on 4 lots, goes way far back there. And this is the home of the Segerstrom family. The Segerstrom family, they were lima bean farmers back in the early 1900s, when Orange County is much more rural, much more agricultural. But now the Segerstrom home is impressive, but not the most expensive house I'll show you along the peninsula. No, that title goes to this big white house here coming up on the right with the black accents. This is a newly built house, built in 2020. They put it on the market for $45 million. Now, this is actually quite a sad story. You see, they didn't get $45 million. No, they had to settle for the paltry sum of only $37 million. Oh, it's a sad story. I'll try and hold back the tears every time I pass the home. Right, we got a light-colored house with blue-gray shutters. Check out the backyard. Little plastic flags sticking out of the grass. That's because that's a putting green in the backyard. That's the home of the Shea family, Shea Homes, Shea Construction. They put a putting green in their backyard. They actually have kind of a funny story about putting in that putting green. See, when they dug out the yard to put that in, they found 2,000 cigar butts back there. What were all those doing? Turns out that home used to be owned by actor-comedian George Burns. Lived there with his wife Gracie Allen for decades. George known for his signature cigars. But Gracie would not let George smoke inside. Had to go out to the backyard. Speaking of backyards, I always like to point this out. Here on the right, this big white house here has a very large backyard. That did not come with the house. No, that's just something that the family owns that wanted. How did they get that big backyard? Well, they bought their neighbor's home, flattened it down, and put in that grass, that backyard. Yeah, about an $8 million backyard. They got some cool neighbors. Directly on the right, this dark blue house with the yellow outdoor curtains. That's our local drug dealer, Mr. Milan Ponich. He started ICM Pharmaceuticals, find his drugs at CVS. He's actually selling his house $19 million if you want to, our extra dealer pad. Dealer of another sorts. This house with a stone archway right in the center. That's Fletcher Jones Jr., Fletcher Jones Mercedes-Benz. He's also selling his house. $32 million if you're on the market. Now those are some pretty crazy housing prices. Houses along the peninsula didn't used to be so expensive. If you look over here on the right, there's a little white house with green awnings, kind of pushed back in there. So that house is quite old. In the early 1940s, that house was sold to an 11-year-old girl. She bought it for $5,000. What 11-year-old's buying a house, right? You probably know her name, Miss Shirley Temple. Had just finished a couple of movies, had some money in the bank. 2 months after she bought that house, she graciously allowed her parents to move in as well. And then 2 years after that, she was crowned the first ever Miss Newport Beach. So folks, I did some math for you guys, even though I hate math. So $5,000 in the early 1940s. You adjust that for inflation, that's worth about $95,000 in today's money. Shows you how much housing prices have exploded around here. Imagine buying a house in Newport Beach for under $100,000. I can't even find a place out for 29 pounds for that. Public dock here on the right. You can always tell a public dock because they have these blue and white column toppers, those ornaments on the top of the columns. You ever see those on a dock here in the harbor? Does mean it's a public dock, free for anyone to use. Impressive dock coming up here on the right. This dock with all the paint buckets on it. This dock, a couple months back, had 17 sea lions on it. Almost sank. Incredibly enough, it didn't. Now, this is the home of the Cathy family. They started Chick-fil-A. Chicken sandwiches paid for this big brick house here. They actually rent the house out, $19,000 a month. Coming up here on the right, we got a house with a white bottom, black top, black roof. That's the home of Mrs. Debbie Fields. She started a fast food chain almost as unhealthy as Chick-fil-A, Mrs. Fields Cookies. She actually started Mrs. Fields Cookies right here in Balboa. That's where she started. Not the only chain that started here. You can go to the end of the Balboa Pier and go to the original Ruby's Diner. Now folks, I've got a lot of house stories. My personal favorite to tell is actually about 2 houses. These 2 houses with the orange roofs coming up here on the right, at the end of the line. These 2 houses are very close to each other. That's because they used to be one big house. It was owned by a guy named King Gillette. He started Gillette razor blades, very successful guy. When he passed away, the house was inherited by his 2 sons. Just one small problem there. They hated each other. They hated each other so much that they couldn't live under the same roof. They seriously split the house in 2. That is why it is 2 homes these days. Now, you might notice, the house at the end of the line kind of juts out a little bit closer to the water. It juts out exactly 16 feet. Now, I know that because the older brother, he owned that house. He hired a contractor to extend out the face of his house. He extended it out exactly 16 feet. Why? Maybe he wanted some more space, new game room, something like that? Nope. No, he did that just to block his little brother's view of the Pacific Ocean. Little brother was on vacation in Mexico for a month and a half. Comes back home, no more ocean view. Talk about brotherly love, man. We have none of that here in the harbor. Explains why I'm an only child.
Mean.
I bought tickets.
The Chick-fil-A house. You can rent it out for night.
Oh, the Mrs. Fields.
Right, it's starting already.
Welcome.
That's the run over or what?
Yeah, sea lion.
Sea lion.
So when we get to the open ocean, it's going to be a little...
Maybe at the end.
At the end of this.
We have some apartments here directly on our right. It's kind of taupe apartments. There's affordable apartments. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, only $2 million. All right, not exactly affordable. They're affordable by comparison. If you look out on the top of the hill from the left from these apartments, you'll see a big building with blue stripes along it. Those are luxury condos. How do you get called a luxury condo? Well, you're 5,000 square feet. You take up an entire floor in this building. You got lots of cool amenities like an indoor pool. As these are luxury condos, all of them except for one has been sold. Each one $10 million a piece. But I got something for you guys you'll hardly ever see here in the harbor. Over here on the right, a big dirt hill. That's empty land. Why is there not a house at the top of it? Well, don't worry, folks. Everyone, calm down. There soon will be a house at the top of it. And there was one not too long ago. That's where the Irvine Mansion was. For the Irvine family, Irvine, California. A guy came in and bought the Irvine Mansion as a teardown project. You want an idea of what it looked like? You see the blue building in front of the dirt hill? That was the horse stables for the Irvine Mansion. Now, a guy from the Midwest, he came in and bought the Irvine Mansion as a teardown project. Bought it for $55 million just to tear the thing down. Most expensive teardown project I've ever heard of. He's got quite the competition, too, when he's building his new house. If you look to the left from the dirt hill, you'll see a light-colored house at the top of the next hill. It has lots of palm trees behind it. So that's the home of the Washburn family. They started the 7-Up bottling company, a very successful family. That's actually the largest home in the Newport Harbor. It clocks in at 20,000 square feet. Now, 20,000 square feet, that's just kind of a number. I like to give visuals. So to give you an idea of just how big that is, all those palm trees I said were behind the house, I was lying. They're in the center courtyard. The house wraps around them. It's massive. Also, this big house here on the right, the 2 very big palm trees in the backyard, that's the upside down house. That house is called the upside down house because all the bedrooms, they're on the first floor. On the second floor, living room and kitchen. And on the roof, of course that's where the pool is, it's the upside down house. It was built for the Penny family of J.C. Penny fame.
Tatawid kami dyan.
Walk over there.
Yan na yung ferry, dala ang mga kotse. Kung saan kami pupunta, doon galing yung mga kotse. Kami naman, walang kotse. Iniwanan namin sa parking yung mga kotse.
Guys, it was so funny because it was.
Going to Balboa. Hey,
It was so close.
you have your mask on, you have your sunglasses. Bababa na kami. Bernadette.
Hello.
Si Jay.
Juju.
Wait.
Welcome to Balboa Island.